Hello there, General Kenobi. What's going on, YouTube? It is Friday. That means we're inside the Hollow City, inside a cold harbor, outside the plane of existence, to go over our first of two weekend vendors. The luxury furnishing vendor is notably one of my favorite vendors because you can get a cool assortment of furnishing items. Now, we're looking at these items for two main purposes. The first one is going to be, hey, there's a little bit of resale value for these, and two, just showing them off. Are you interested in a Cold Harbor thingy that rotates? You might be for 35,000. Also, Daedric Altar Periite confirmed 2025. This is a Daedric theme. Daedric themes notably don't have a lot of resale value, not necessarily for the reason that you might not think. A lot of people are not super interested into the BDSM vibes that they give, and unfortunately, the few people that are, unfortunately get banned for RP through the auto detection for chat these days. These items have been around for such a long time that Daedric items, there's just so many in the game. The coolest item here, though, I will say, is this. I don't know if I've seen this before, and 15,000 for a brand new item is usually decent value, but notably, nothing super exciting this week. We got the Daedra, and unfortunately, the Daedra are not the most notable for resale value. Before we jump into our second vendor here, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe. We do super fast YouTube intros. Most of the time, we don't even really do an intro. We just jump right into the meat and potatoes. So please hit the subscribe button, because statistically, if you say, hey, can you guys like and subscribe? And you put it at the beginning of the video, you get more likes and subscribes, but it's just so tacky. But notably, we are at the golden vendor here, and the reason why we're going to talk about this vendor is because we're going to rate all of these sets on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average for its notable utilization. And we start with the Necklace of Durok's Bane. And this set's fun because it's been nerfed, which means at one point it was good. When you take damage, you apply Major Defile to the enemy for 5 seconds, reducing their healing received and damage shield strength by 12%. This can occur once every 7 seconds per enemy. So, notably, what it used to read was, when you take damage, you apply Major Defile to the attacker for 10 seconds, reducing their healing received and health recovery by 30%. This effect can occur every 1 second. So, it used to just be crazy uptime that you would be able to get on this set. Unfortunately, these days, it's just one of those things where you're like, Major Defile. I mean, that's kind of cool, throwing that on somebody, but not really going to be super helpful in the sense that you're using a full 5-piece set to get something that you can get from other places. Therefore, it's probably like a 6.5. It's mediocre, which is what our 6 range is. But notably, we got some better sets, so don't worry about it. And if this set does interest you, it comes from Celine's Web. Next up is the Salvation set, which drops from Malbator. So it's an overland set. You could resell this. Nobody's going to buy it. Sorry, spoiler. Reduce the cost of your werewolf transformation by 33%. While in werewolf form, your weapon and spell damage is increased by 150. That's an unnamed buff. It will stack with all the other buffs that you're getting. Yeah, I mean, you could... The 33% reduced cost of your werewolf transformation, basically useless. Don't even need to worry about that. 150 weapon and spell damage. Imagine if a 5-piece set bonus was just, you get extra 150 weapon and spell damage. You'd be like, that's it? You could wipe your ass these days with any DLC or even most overland sets to get well more, like at least 200 to 300 weapon and spell damage. You know, just for existing, just for breathing out of your mouth for a proc set to give you more than 150 weapon and spell damage. This is the first 5.0 set. It is exactly average. And what that means is if you built a werewolf, you would get probably equal benefit that if I just threw a random set on you that's not even necessarily built for a werewolf. In fact, you could actually argue that this is lower than average. You know, I've talked myself into this. This is a 4.5. This is below average. You would be getting a better benefit if I put a random set on you just randomly in the overworld. It's not painfully bad. You're not going to do horribly. I mean, you're getting stam recovery, max stam. You're getting an unnamed buff, but shush, this is not good. Next up is the Red Mountain set. Now, the Red Mountain set is also an overland set, so it is resellable. You're able to get this from Stonefalls, I believe. And when you deal damage with a weapon, you spawn a volcano that erupts after 1 second, launching liquid hot lava at the closest enemy, dealing 6,704 damage. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds and scales off your weapon or spell damage. Now, my friend David loves this set, and I have now come up against this set quite a few times in BGs and Cyrodiil. And it's kind of annoying when you fight up against this set because it looks like somebody's launching a meteor at you, so it kind of forces you to be in a defensive position. That being said, it's 2, 3, and 4 of weapon and spell, max stamina, and crit chance, and this being mostly a PvP build, probably for its best utilization. Where would you put it? I would say you're going to put this about halfway through the good tier. You give this like a 7.5. I don't think it's great. I do think that you could try to do almost some sort of like clog build where you're just forcing your opponent to constantly block because they think that they're getting hit by all these crazy abilities and you're forcing people to be on the defensive. That being said, it's a good set. You know, if you wanted to use that, I don't think it gets to that great tier, but I'd say it's about halfway from good to great, 7.5. Next up is Overwhelming from Tempest Island. When you deal damage with a class ability, you surround yourself with a torrent that deals 534 shock damage to enemies within 8 meters of you every 1 second. For 6 seconds, 50% of the damage you deal this way is restored to you as magicka. This effect can occur once every 7 seconds. So we're going to cut to the chase with this one. This is a great solo set. What is a solo set? Well, it means if you're just out in the world, you know, little Timmy, and you just want to be able to box with the world bosses, delve bosses, story bosses, you want to farm things like heists, arenas even, you're going to be looking at solo content builds. And Overwhelming is a good one. I would even argue that it's a great one. It's not excellent, so this is not a 9. It's not a staple, so it's not a 10. But I would say it's not just great. I would say it's 3/4 of the way to excellent. We'll give this like a 8.75 because it is a really good set. Notably, too, because you will not have to worry about sustain if you're using this on a Magicka-based character. Now, obviously, this is a jewelry piece. You could go farm Tempest Island. You could basically run it blindfolded at this point because it's with power creep. You know, Tempest Island is very easy to run, but notably, this is still a fantastic set. And our first monster set is a bit of a banger because it's Mighty Chuden. Mighty Chuden's 1 piece of armor and 2 piece of health and major resolve at all times is pretty fantastic at minimum, and some may argue it's a staple. Let's take a bit of a step back here. When it comes to buying shoulders, normally it costs Undaunted keys. Undaunted keys can either be very lucrative for you, or you may have tons of them. If you're my friend who does their daily pledges every single day, you will not have a problem. You probably have less gold, you know, per capita than you necessarily would in your Undaunted keys when you're scaling them to their equal value. However, most players usually have a decent chunk of gold, a decent chunk amount of alliance points, and if you're like me, I would rather save my Undaunted keys that when, you know, something new comes out and I need to get something very specific from like a new dungeon, for example. So, Mighty Chuden to me is a good pickup for 100,000 gold or 200,000 AP. Why is that? Well, a lot of very popular PvP builds run Mighty Chuden. It's almost like an auto-include in that a lot of people just like to have major resolve at all times because why wouldn't you? It increases your physical and spell resistance by 5948. Sorcerers specifically love having access to major resolve at all times, and you know, sorcerers are probably the most popular PvP class right now, so you could argue that this is currently a staple. It's on the most popular PvP builds, on the most popular PvP classes. We're just going to give it a 10 out of 10. And we finish with a bit of an interesting dialogue because we have the Rakumgaz. When you heal yourself or an ally, you summon a Dwemer spider that heals you for 1177 health and restores 121 magicka and stamina to you and your allies within 5 meters every 1 second for 8 seconds. It's going to occur every 15 seconds. This poses a very interesting question that I like to break down because this drops from Darkshade Caverns 1. And arguably, it's one of the best support sets if you're interested in getting into later game farming. So let's say you and your friends, you make a 4-man group and you're all trying to farm sets and kind of cheer yourself up, right? You're probably not going to be able to farm Symphony of Blades off the bat, but you would be able to get this set and kind of tier yourself up power level wise. And this is like a stepping stone set. That's what I would classify this monster set as. You are stepping yourself up from a good healing set and support set to a great one. So this is basically a 7.0, bit of a spoiler here, but this is also a non-DLC one too. So if you're, like, hey, I don't know if I want to get ESO Plus, but I still want to be able to have a good support set, based on my options, this is a pretty good one to get. So it's not going really towards great because there are so many other great support options that just outclass this when you start getting into harder DLC content and getting rewarded with better monster sets. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this is still a good support set. And if you're interested in tiering yourself up, or if you're somebody who's brand new to the game, this is a decent monster set to pick up. You probably don't have 100,000 gold or 200,000 AP unless you farmed Mid-Year Mayhem or you're doing Battlegrounds from 10 to 50. So you probably don't want to buy it necessarily. You may want to roll Undaunted Keys. You're probably also not worried about getting it in light, medium, or heavy. So you probably aren't, as worried about that. But it's an option if you're interested. But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings, but also a special shout out to yesterday's video. If you guys want to see what the newest ESO class will be, likely in 2026 or 2027, check out yesterday's video. We analyze a bunch of clues and things in the game to break it down. And we'll be live streaming on Sunday at noon to also break down some more fun theories and see if we can piece together some more information together. So leave a comments below. Second thing is, if you want to be entered into our giveaway drawings, make sure you're subscribed. We're on the road to 25,000 subscribers. We should hit it here hopefully by Christmas. Be an early Christmas present. Just be subscribed. And the third thing is, look for a hidden word we flash upon the screen. If you're the first person to comment that word, you will win. Thank you guys so much again. Have a happy Friday, and I'll catch you guys this weekend. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.